that's my sermon. This is what I'm supposed to be talking about. So I was like, okay, sometimes God has jokes. And I'm like, okay, well, this is where we're going. So let's go. Let's go. Let's do this. So I want to share with you, how many of you read the Signs of My magazine, the daily guides? I love this month. And the author this month is Reverend Dr. Dennis Merritt Jones. And Wednesdays was called The Divine Do-Over. Sound familiar? So I'm going to read what he wrote. If you are not paying attention, we can easily miss the sacred micro moments the beloved places before us. Let me just pause right there. You could miss the micro moments the beloved places before us. My sermon disappeared. I would call that a micro moment. And I was in denial for a little bit that it happened, right? Okay. Those sacred micro moments that beloved places before us, continually opening invisible windows that invites us to slow down. Take a breath and be present with what is. When we miss that open window, we miss the grand show God is offering us at that moment. Along with the infinite unconditional love that accompanies it. Last night, noticing it was a full moon, I felt called to slow down, take a breath, and intentionally reconnect with the present moment. As I stepped outside for an evening meditation in the balmy breeze, by happenstance, I experienced an event that doesn't occur often, a blue moon. It is called the blue moon because it is the second moon. It is the second of 2 full moons in the same month, which happens only every 2 or 3 years. I often enjoy sitting in the soft glow of a full moon while meditating. But I must have zoned out during the first full moon of the month because I missed it. As I sat and gazed at this beautiful shining gem in a sea of darkness, a wave of gratitude washed over me. Here was the universe offering me a divine do-over. Another opportunity to, as Hafiz says, stay close. Stay close to something that makes me feel truly alive and connected to the moment. What makes you feel alive? Whatever it is, don't wait for a blue moon to stay close to it. The window for a divine do-over is open now and now and now. Healing opportunity manifests everywhere, AKA a divine do-over. Our healing opportunities are a divine do-over for us. The question is, do we see it as such? Sometimes we do. Sometimes we have a pity party. Sometimes we never do. And we find ourselves stuck. Yes? So, it also took me to something that CSL shared as a talking point for the sermon. They quoted Carl Jung, the psychologist, who talks about the archetype of a wounded healer. And I've heard this phrase many times. I think I've heard you say it, Chris. The wounded hero transcends hardship and suffering and use their wisdom and understanding to facilitate the healing of themselves and support others in doing so. How we choose to handle those challenges defines who we are and determines the trajectory of our lives. It's through our personal wounds that we gain access to the inner strength that empowers, heals, and ultimately blesses. Healing opportunities manifest everywhere. Do you see your pains and your hurts as opportunities for healing? Just by a show of hands. Sometimes. Come see, come sigh, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes.
Depends upon what stage.
Depends upon what stage. Yes, Jan. Yes. So one of our companion books this month is What Happened to You. I don't know if anyone's had the opportunity to read that book, but it's by Dr. Bruce Perry and Oprah Winfrey. And it's wonderfully done because it's a back and forth conversation. So the conversation is between Dr. Bruce and Oprah. And sometimes she's asking questions around healing in the context of trauma, right? And sometimes she's sharing her own trauma story. And he's sharing a lot about the people that he has worked with who have suffered great trauma. And in some cases have suffered trauma, but we would not regard it as such, but it was. So I highly recommend the book. But in the introduction, Oprah writes this, and it just struck me in a way when we think about the opportunities for healing. So Oprah writes in the introduction, what has happened to us in the past shapes who we are, how we behave, and why we do the things we do. Through this lens, we can build a renewed sense of personal self-worth, and ultimately recalibrate our responses to circumstances, situations, and relationships. That made me think about, I'm very blessed. I had a very blessed childhood. I wouldn't say that I suffered major traumas, but I had some traumatic moments in my life for sure that stand out, that needed healing for me, especially in my relationships with my parents, specifically my father that I've shared, right? And it became very clear to me, if I did not take the opportunity to heal those relationships, that my behavior would continue to really not work for me, right? I would continue to be in relationships that really didn't work for me. I would continue to devalue myself, right? And thank God for these teachings, because it was through these teachings that I recognized that I had an opportunity to change my life, right? So do we recognize when we have those opportunities, that the opportunities are everywhere? We don't have to go looking for the opportunity because it's everywhere. Why? Because it's here. It's home. It's right where we are. Right where we are. Oftentimes we think it's all the way over there. Oftentimes we think it's in somebody else to fix, to heal our stuff. I used to believe that. I used to believe that the men in my relationships, if they would just heal themselves, then my life would be much better. And that might be true on some level, right? But in essence, I had my own work to do, right? I have my own work to do. So in this healing opportunity manifests everywhere, the word that really resonates for me in that acronym for home is opportunity. It really, really hits home for me. So those who know me know that I love words, and I love looking up the definition for words. So I looked up the definition for opportunity. This is what the dictionary says. 1, an appropriate or favorable time or occasion. 2, a situation or condition favorable for the attainment of a goal. 3, a good position, chance, or prospect as for the advancement or success. I said, okay, that's what I thought opportunity meant. Okay, ding, 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 ding. Okay, that's good. Then I like to look up the origins of words. So opportunity comes from the word opportune. Okay, so what's the origin of opportune? The origin of opportune is convenient and access. I was like, oh, I love that, right? Okay, so we got convenient, we got access, and we have, when I looked at opportunity, I was like, unity. Unity is an opportunity, right? Right? So I added that. I said, okay, I have convenience, I have access, and I have unity. And we know unity is what? Oneness, right? I said, okay, we cooking with gas now. I'm so glad I lost that sermon. All right, here we go, right? So then I said, well, let's see what Ernest has to say about all this. This is what Ernest Holmes writes in Signs of Mind. He says, stand in the midst of eternal opportunity, which is forever presenting us with the evidence of its full expression. Eternal opportunity. Now you could take that a lot of ways, right? Just like, am I always gonna have an opportunity for healing? Am I always gonna have stuff that needs to get healed? Yeah, we are. It might be little stuff. It might not be major stuff, right? But on this human experience, I have to tell y'all, as long as we're relating to each other, we are going to have healing opportunities. Right? Is that an amen, Tony? Yes. Yes, it's going to be some stuff, right? But the wonderful thing is that in those opportunities, we have an opportunity to unify with ourselves once again as the full expression of who we are. That is so wonderful. That if we could look at when things come up that need healing, if we could also say to ourselves, ooh, this is an opportunity for my full expression again. Right? If we could remember that in the moment, I oftentimes don't. It usually takes a moment or 2 or 7 or 8 for me to remember, oh, this is for my healing. This hurt that I feel is for my healing. Oh, he pissed me off again. This feeling is familiar. It has nothing to do with him. Let me trace it back. Right? And oftentimes we could trace it all the way back, usually to where our childhood, right? And then we can apply some love to the places inside of us that hurt as adults, right? We can apply some love to that little girl, that little boy that hurts from this place of knowingness. Yes? So one of the things that CSL also shared in preparing for the sermon is this, and I was like, okay, CSL, you had to go there. It says, and knowing this allows all circumstances. How fun is that? In all circumstances, you find yourself in an upset, right? That is the circumstance that is up for healing. That is a circumstance where healing is manifesting as an opportunity for us once again. Once again, we get to play if we would look at it that way, right? We get to play by giving things for whatever the healing opportunity is presenting for us now, right? Yeah. So I was thinking about this as this continued to unfold, and a healing opportunity presented itself before the night was over. Isn't that funny how that happened? It was not a big thing that happened, but I made it a gigantic thing. You know what? You want to know what it is? Someone left one fork in the sink after I had washed the dishes. It just pissed me off. And what triggered it, what it triggered was feeling unappreciated, right? And I went off. I did. I went off, right? Had my little temper tantrum, all the things. And then I went up to my office and I sat in my office. I said, you know, this is a good time to do TM. Let me do TM. Let me do TM. So I meditated. After I meditated, I like to write. So I was writing. And I said, why am I so upset about this fork being left in the sink? Like, it was like way over the top. Like, what's going on here? Is this the opportunity for some healing? I said, okay. Let's go back. When in your life have you been unappreciated? I went through a whole bunch of work scenarios, felt highly unappreciated in many jobs that I had, but I had to keep going back, keep going back, keep going back. And there I was, 8 years old. Is that how old you are in the third grade? Yeah. 8 years old, in school, with Miss Applebaum. She wore her hair like Farrah Fawcett with the slip. Yeah. And she terrorized me because I was left-handed. And in her universe, you cannot be left-handed. So for all of my work, she would give me a frown sticker. All of my work could be right, but she would give me a frown sticker. And I was like, what? After all this work that I did, I would get a frown sticker. I would be in tears. And she told me, you must write with your right hand. You must write with your right hand. You live in a right-handed world, you will write with your right hand. And I didn't write with my right hand. I thought it was pretty cool that I wrote with my left hand. And my father was left-handed, so I felt like that was a connection with my father also. So here I am, fork in the sink, and now I'm in the third grade. What in the world? What in the world? And so in that moment, I decided, and I have shared this story many times. It's like one of the stories. You know, we all have that story in our life that we tell. But this time, as I was in that feeling, I realized that I've held so much resentment towards Miss Applebaum. I don't remember many of my teachers' names, but I remember Miss Applebaum, right? Because of the way that she treated me. So there's a lot of emotion there, right? So we remember memories that have a lot of emotion. I said, you know what? It's time for me to let this go. It's time for me to free Miss Applebaum, right? And there is an opportunity for healing here. And yeah, it's funny, right? But it ain't. Yeah, it hurts, right? And I was doing to my family what Miss Applebaum was doing to me, because I terrorized them over that fork being left in the sink. And she terrorized me before being left-handed. So I wrote Miss Applebaum a thank you note, because I never switched from being left-handed. It made me determined to own my left-handed. I was proud of being left-handed. Now, if I didn't have Miss Applebaum in my life and have that experience, I might not have had the full appreciation of being left-handed, right? It was a proud thing for me, and I noticed other left-handed. It was a thing, it was quite a club, right? At 8 years old. So I wrote all of that down to Miss Applebaum and told her how much I appreciate the fact that she pays so much attention to the fact that I was left-handed. And that because of her, I can appreciate myself for being a little different, right? Because there's healing opportunities manifest everywhere. Time and space doesn't matter in the spectrum of healing. Doesn't matter. Could be today, could be 50 years ago. So this is what we get to do. When we are grounded and rooted in this, in our home, right, in our heart, in our spirit, in our soul, this is what we get to do for ourselves and to hold that space for each other. Because my family held the space for me. They didn't get mad that I was mad at them. You know, my girls was like, sorry, mommy, you know, I'll go wash it, you know, and then they were off doing whatever, you know, it was like, whatever, you know, like, it wasn't a big thing. They just held the space without assigning anything about me to it, really. And so that's how we get to be with each other. So, you know, I always have homework. I would invite you, if at this moment right here and right now, as I shared that story, if a memory came up for you, or if you're in a funk right now about some scenario with somebody or with yourself, as part of Thanksgiving, write a thank you note about it, about that person, about you, whatever it fits. Because there's an opportunity to unite, right? It's always convenient. Healing is always convenient, right? What did we say the three are? Convenient, access, and unity. So the access is here. We don't have to go ask anybody for access. There's no password, right? It's convenient right here and right now in this present moment. And then we know that we are in the oneness, always in the oneness, regardless. The eternal healing. So with that, I want to share as a spiritual divine treatment, one of Ernest Holmes that he writes about opportunities. So I just invite you to just take a breath. And you can hold the energy of that opportunity in your wings, right? Our thinking and our feeling. I know I am now at the threshold of all good, wisdom, and truth. All the good I can embody is mine now. I have only to open the portals of my soul and accept that which is ready to express through me. I expect fully and empathetically the answer to my prayer today. Right now, do I possess this thing I so greatly desire? I remove my fear of lack and negation, for it is the only barrier which stands in the way of my experience of good. I alone can remove it. I alone remove it now. I alone can heal it. I alone heal it now. In this moment, my good comes to me, enough to spare and to give, to share with others. I can never be exhausted. My good can never be depleted, because that source from which my good comes is inexhaustible. Today, in this moment, the Lord responds to my thought. The word is one of my affirmations, rising from the knowledge that the good, the enduring, and the true are eternalities of my experience. I cannot be apart from that which is my good. My good is assured me by God, the indwelling essence of my life. And so it is. Amen.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network, come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings.